to the Token and Hobbs Show on the Roads to Liberty Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Roads to Liberty podcast. I'm your host, Token. Joining my partner over there, Mr. Dustin Hobbs, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Maj Toure of Black Guns Matter. He's also running for city council at large in the city of Philadelphia. What's up, Maj? How you doing?
What's up, man? How y'all feeling?
We're feeling very good, man. Now, we heard about you through our mutual friend, Mr. Michael Heiss of the Mises Caucus. He's been talking you up in libertarian circles, spreading the word about your run for city council over there.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get you on because you look like a very interesting dude. I've been watching a lot of the videos of you out on your Facebook right now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your decision to run for city council?
Philadelphia is turning into a blue. It's been a blue collar city for some time, but we're a blue city in the middle of a red state, and we're inadvertently putting ourselves in a space where we are violating human rights on several levels. The human right to self-defense is stated in the Second Amendment. The human right to free speech, of expression. And we need people. It's one thing to have people communicating about that from a perspective of on the outside, but we need more people in political office that can maintain those value systems and fight for the people and work for the people at the same time. On the outside, just in the private sector, that's cool and that helps, and you let the market do its thing. But I believe that there needs to be agents of change within government. I am not a fan of government. I think that they're far-reaching and they're like very incompetent. And so the best way to change that portion of it is to show the people within government how to be more competent again. And so because of that, for me, it makes sense to, not overshoot my target and just, run for city council, get that seat, learn more about, local politics and the moving and shaking of that, and then, see what happens after that. But, it's one thing to change the minds and hearts of people and getting them involved in training and firearms and the Second Amendment and politically active on certain levels. It's a whole nother thing when some dweeb politician can just, with the stroke of a pen, make all of the stuff that you just did obsolete because now there's a law that says semi-automatic firearms are, unlawful. So, we got to do the 1-2 punch thing, and that's, I want to put my money where my mouth is.
Absolutely. So what are some of your political influences? I'm sure you didn't just out of the blue decide to run for city council. You've been an activist for some time. So how did you get to this point?
It was actually my partner. My partner Janine was like, "Yo, you should run for office," And I understand that the red tape. Again, I'm not a fan of government, and the reality. Somebody asked, have I read my state constitution? Absolutely, I have. One of my favorite portions of that, real before I finish that answer, is Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania State Constitution. The right to keep and bear arms of the people shall not be questioned. That's my state constitution. Shall not be questioned, literally. So there's no question about, that. Now, going back to my partner saying, "Yo, you should run for city, for office." Part of me was like, "Yo, I'm just, I'm a dude that I don't really play those political games the same way that a lot of people play." And because of that, that's part of the reason which actually makes me a viable candidate. For the same reason that Donald Trump has a mass appeal, it's because even though he may not be the best pursuer of the Second Amendment, but the reality is he's at least saying right, wrong, or indifferent. He's saying how he feels about a thing. And I think a lot of times people have politicians are very seasoned in lying, seasoned in deception. So I think people want more real people in office. And so that was that. And one of my major influences, is Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, Harriet Tubman, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Not necessarily because I believe with all of their individual ideologies, but their approach to life and their level of diplomacy and political tact, as well as being straightforward in certain levels. So I just knowing all of this stuff over time, it's like, okay, I can start applying some of that. Maybe not Zbigniew Brzezinski so much, but applying some of the the political the tactician tactics that you have to have in order to be in politics. So it was just building a different skill set, and if I do this right, I can represent my community politically as well as socially. So it was a no brainer after that.
Bravo.
Awesome.
I'd put an addendum on what you just said about people wanting more real people in office. I think at this point we absolutely need more real people in office. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm a big supporter, maybe not legally, like putting it down into legislation, but principally of term limits
Mm-hmm.
at all levels of government, not just at the federal level. And I think some of these politicians have just been in office for way too long.
But here's the funny thing about that. I agree with that in the sentiment of it. But when I was having this conversation with Thomas Massey about this, he broke it down like this. Each congressperson has, like a pin or like a card, and it has a number of like where they come in as far as seniority goes.
Mm-hmm.
And the vast majority, I think at the time he was on there for like maybe, I want to say 5 years or something like that, 4 or 5 years. Anyway, his number meant that he was more senior than most of the people that were there, in essence. And I'm paraphrasing it, but the point is, term limits would be good for people that are trash. But if a person's great at the job, we want to keep hiring them. So, Thomas Massey said that if the vast majority of people in Congress have been there, if hasn't been there for a very, in political time, he hasn't been there for a very long time. And if most of the people that are there or have been there for less than his time there, and at that time he had been there for 4 or 5 years, term limits wouldn't matter in that sense, because most of the people there are there, freshman, junior, whatever type game. So he calls some of those things or certain portions of that a cotton candy solution. I think that we should be, as a community, locally, state, whatever, we should be so civically aware and on point. Okay, Carl Cranbeck, I'm gonna come fuck you up in a minute, Carl Cranbeck. I'm gonna come destroy your question, because you're completely wrong. You're out of context and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So that's that. So I'll come right back to you, Carl. Let me finish this answer real quick. Um, so the term limit situation is, I think we should be socially, politically, civically on point enough to say, hey, we are the constituents, you work for us, and we will vote you out. We can influence politicians not by changing their mind, but by changing their constituents and their base. We change
Right.
their base by giving them more information. The problem is the left for the most part has just done a very good job of removing civics from the schools. So, that's the term limit thing. I'm with it. But if a person's like, I never want Thomas Massey to not be there if he don't want to be there. If he wants to be there, I want him to be there. No different than, like some people may say, oh, Rand Paul is this, that, and the third. But I think these are some of the more principled men in those positions. You know what I'm saying? So let me get to Carl real quick. Carl, so you talk, first of all, I can comment on whatever the fuck I want to comment on. That's number one. It's called freedom of speech. It's so funny to me how so many libertarians, and again, that's why we pushing Operation Toughen Up Libertarians, okay? So many libertarians say, well, why would you comment on, as if the freedom of speech is not a freedom? So that's one. That's your first wrong. The second thing is talking about a national issues like immigration if you're running from local office seems counterproductive. So what he's talking about is a tweet that was taken out of context. Somebody that I know a lot of guys that are really, really rhinos that are screaming this whole immigration, we got to build the wall, we got to blah, 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 blah. And my thing was, in exposing that contradiction to those types was, first of all, I know a lot of those guys. I eat at their restaurants. I know who you hire. On one hand, you're saying immigration, 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 but on the same token, you're hiring undocumented or illegal immigrants. That's the reality. That's the reality. So if you were so bold about it, you would be going after you yourself. You will be cleaning the house, meaning these rhinos, as well as you will be going after other businesses that are your friends that you play squash with. You will be doing that, but that's not what you're doing. So in that tweet, if you don't know the tweets before that, and you don't know the context of when I put it on Facebook and the comment section under there or Instagram, you think that I'm just saying, oh, all of the illegals are wrong, blah, 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 blah. So that's your answer, Carl. And to double down on that, I can talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. That's the reality of the scenario. As well as anyone that has a disagreement with anything that I'm saying, I am the keynote speaker at the 2020 Libertarian National Convention. Get your tickets. Me and my friends will be walking around, answering questions, and handling all discrepancies in person. Dialogue is good. Communication is good. Expression is good. Even if we disagree, I can tell you why I disagree with you. You can tell me why you disagree with me, and we can figure out areas that we have commonality, and we can move forward. We can have a beer if you drink. If you smoke, you can smoke, and we move forward. I think these are healthy dialogues. I hope, because I speak very aggressively, I hope that no one thinks that means I'm wishing anybody any harm or threatening anybody. I'm just from Philly. That's how I talk. So.
Awesome. So you're from Philadelphia. You're from these neighborhoods that you're running in. What has been the voters' reception of you when you go out to them and you talk about these issues? You talk about how you're going to fix Philadelphia City Council, and especially when you tell them about your libertarian beliefs. What's the kind of reactions that you get?
The hood love conservative and or libertarian values. The hood love them. They just haven't been presented them. For example, I used this example before. Everybody in the hood loved the movie Black Panther, right? Now, to some of my conservative following, that would be like, "Yo, why are you even talking to the hood? They don't blah 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 blah." I'm like, listen, Wakanda had more of a conservative vibe to it. So there's things in the hood that are conservative. Everybody in the hood locks their doors. Listen, I'm minding my business. So what I'm saying is there's conservative and there's libertarian value systems in urban America. The Democrats have just been conditioning us to believe you're supposed to vote one way. But in practice, in theory, maybe not knowing the language, the hood is, I'm going to mind my business, you mind your business. We're going to communicate when we need to communicate. If I know you, we're going to keep it solid with each other. Those are liberty-based principles. That is the non-aggression principle. I'm going to be in control of me. You're going to be in control of you. Now, when I break that down to somebody in urban America, they go, damn, I fuck with that. The problem is no one in the fucking hood knows what libertarian means. They don't know what the party is. And that's partially our fault as libertarians. And I would dare say, even as people that we would quote unquote identify, for lack of a better term, as on the right, right? We've left urban America. We left money on the table. We have not engaged. We say, yeah, we got to do better, but we haven't been doing it. No different than what we did with Black Guns Matter. The gun community kept saying, oh, we got to be diverse. We got to such and such. We got to try. Okay, then fucking do it. Make your optics and your values reflect that. And so when I explain that in urban America, in the hoods all across America, they love it. They love it because it's true. And no different than if they disagree, the foundational principle is the ability to disagree without aggression. Yo, I disagree with that. I view that a little bit differently. I know libertarians that are not open borders libertarians. That's just it. Okay, even if that is in the policy, I, as an individual, the smallest republic, have the right to say, nah, I disagree with that part. And we can figure out the 10 other areas that we agree on and work together. So the hood get that. I think a lot of times not a lot, a minority of certain libertarians that ain't even in the party really, they just submit to the philosophy. They just want to argue about a gang of shit. And it's like, all right, cool. I don't really have time for that shit. I'm trying to get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more million urban Americans armed and on this liberty wave. All you going back and forth for me in your motherfucking mom's basement, drinking cold red Mountain Dew. I don't give a fuck about that. Have a great time. Eat your Doritos. It's amazing. I love Doritos. You know what I'm saying? But we got work to do, bro. So like nitpicking over the small things, the hood understands the bigger picture, and they just need to continue to be led to our ideology. They may not be fucking with Rothbard or Larry Sharp or Friedman or all of that other type shit just yet, but on those basic principles, they right in alignment with it.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the libertarians. It seems to be one of the biggest self-deprecating points that we do tend to purity spiral quite heavily. Kind of going back to what you said a few seconds ago about diversifying the gun movement and putting money where the mouth is. there seems to be, from what I've seen through social media and personal interactions and whatnot, there seems to be this sort of weird breakdown where gun rights are seen as, in the legal self-defense context, is seen like this white middle class redneck, even redneck lower class issue, and it doesn't seem like the legal side or the constitutional protections as an American institution are not put forward as an urban and minority position. Where does that come from, and how what can we do outside of that to try and bring those people, like you were saying, the people that want to get on that liberty wave but just haven't been introduced to that yet? How can we help to help you?
The first thing is being honest about your truth and being less socially awkward. A lot of people that are smart are very socially awkward. And if that happens in individuals over a whole bunch of a particular group, the collective identity starts to reflect that, right? So one is just working on the social awkwardness, and two, um, finding liaisons, getting every libertarian across the entire country, and I'm not talking about the 17 or 18,000 registered party members. I'm talking about the millions of liberty-minded folks across the country. One should find local elections and get behind those people. There's absolutely no reason on earth everybody that's in the liberty movement shouldn't donate $10 to $20 to our campaign. The people that we up against in Philly, the fifth or sixth largest city in America, are well funded, very well organized, and they entrenched. So when we see those victories, or people that, we got to start bringing W's back to the libertarian. Nothing is a better cure all than victory. You know what I'm saying? So okay, if we, and not to sound arrogant, but this race that we're running in Philly right now is one of the most important races in the libertarian movement of the last year, and maybe year and next year. You know what I'm saying? Outside of maybe like Larry Sharp, you know what I'm saying? He had good energy and I was loving it. You know what I'm saying? And I did all I could do to make sure that I was like, yo, let me support Larry. Yo, y'all should go, you know what I mean? And so it's like, you got to support the dudes that don't necessarily look like you or talk like you. So that's one, supporting the people that's doing that. Two, getting rid of some of the social awkwardness. And you do that by recognizing that we got different perspectives, but the commonality is freedom. We got different perspectives. Like I just told the dude before, I was like, yo, I could do whatever the fuck I want. That's not a threat to him. That's just people in Philly speak a little aggressive. You got to understand the cultural differences so you're not socially awkward, because I say that. In Philly, we greet each other saying, what's up, dickhead? That's our greeting. That's our greeting to our best friends. You know what I'm saying? And so just understanding the cultural differences and finding the common grounds, as well as you got to go out and like, Jehovah's Witnesses will knock on your door at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? To spread the gospel. We have to be actively, respectfully sharing what our values are to people that you would not think would be receptive. You'd be surprised how many people are receptive. That's why the hood is running the support that we're getting. The hood is like, yo, I like that. And I don't have to be the most well-read. Yeah, I could call, Milton Friedman or whatever. All right, but at the end of the day, like, so, like, so, like that other, like, we got to get off our own high horse. Everyone does not understand the languaging or have the same level of, book knowledge. Again, I mentioned Rothbard. The hood don't know who the fuck that is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they know who Malcolm X is. And who in the liberty movement is not going to say that Malcolm X was not, especially after he came back from Mecca, who's going to say that he wasn't about liberty? You're out of your mind if you didn't think that's what he was on. So we got to find it in spaces and translate that with people, or to people that don't fit our general standard, as well as you got to find liaisons. You got to get behind the people that already have that bridge built. I have a bridge built between suburban and urban and rural America, corporate America, hood America. Y'all, everybody got to support those liaisons. When you find people that can speak those multiple languages in different culture in different rooms, bringing everybody back to liberty, we got to get behind those people as liaisons. We have to, because if not, you know, it's like the mob. Even if you got saying the right thing, if don't nobody in the hood vouch for you, nobody's gonna fucking listen to you. So those are some of the areas of, you know, how we could do that collectively.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about Black Guns Matter. Why did you decide to start this organization? What are its goals, and how do you intend on spreading its message going forward?
We started. It was me and my partner. You know, it was in the 2015, and going into the presidential elections. And every time we turned around, somebody was talking about a voters registration drive, and we was like, "Yo, we need a license to carry drive." And we joked, but then we wound up doing an event. An event, you know, was way packed. A lot of people came, and when the people came, they were from like New York and New Jersey, and we was like, "Man, more people want this." So we did a little, you know, GoFundMe for $25,000, and we wanted to hit 13 cities. We did that, and people still was like, "Yo, we want you to keep going." Then we said we're gonna do every state in America. We only wanted 100,000. We ran through that 100,000. We gave it away to get these classes to people that wanted to show up for free. They could pay if they wanted to, but it could be free to whoever needed it to be free. We did that, and then we got to like $200,000, and everybody we did it, and I thought we was done, and everybody's like, "Nah, you got to keep going." So now we raised the goal up to $1 million. I think now we had like $211,000 or something like that raised and gave away, and so now it's like, okay, let's get a building, let's get an institution, let's get chapters, let's get vehicles, let's make this institutionalized. You know what I'm saying? Where people can, you know, damn near franchise it. You know, that's the next phase of where we're going with it. But really, it's to teach people about conflict resolution, de-escalation, political education, first aid, as well as firearm training. And that's what we've been doing, and it's grown, you know, over these last 3 years or so, going on 4, and it's been wonderful. I mean, I've been to the vast majority of states in America. You know, I've learned a lot. I've been around high level firearms instructors, law enforcement officers, military dudes. And I'm saying these names or occupations because they have a lot to do with firearms. I have access to very high level firearms instructors, very high level, you know, first aid guys and women, very high level psychologists, mental health professionals. It's been wonderful. So we want to make sure that we're continuing this. So it's not just, oh, when Maj just happens to come to your town, or when somebody does an event or a speaking engagement. We need these in every major city. So we need to use, you know, maybe 1 or 2 cities with the remaining, let's say, a little under $800,000. We need to get locations and institutionalize this, and that's what we're going to do.
Sounds like a real grassroots people helping people thing you got going on there.
Because in the beginning,
right.
nobody gives a fuck. No one cares. No, the people do though. The vast majority of the donations that we get are like $50, $100, $20, $38. It's people that's like, look, I had $17.87 on my card. I gave you $17.87. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things. Those are the things that are impactful. Jared Wilmer said, "What about a GoFundMe for conflict de-escalation for cops? Cops are welcome at our classes. They should come learn conflict resolution and de-escalation as well. That's why the guy that murdered Eric Garner just got fired today or yesterday, whenever it was. But yeah, they need that training too. Bias training. We all have certain particular biases. That only becomes a problem when there's evidence to the contrary to disprove your initial bias. And if you still ride with that bias, at that point you're choosing to be wrong. You're making an emotional commitment to stay wrong. And so this is the type of training that everyone needs. Police officers do not do enough training in that regard. They barely do enough training to even qualify. They qualify once or twice a year, one of the flat range and one of the outdoor range, depending on the, you know, the municipality. But saying this to say, law enforcement and citizen interactions could get better with this. You know, citizen involvement and interaction can get better with this. So police officers are already fully welcome at all and any of our classes at, you know, at any given time. So they definitely should come learn because we got something for them too there.
Now we're coming up on 30 minutes, but I did want to get your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on some other supposedly pro Second Amendment organizations? You know, you have like the NRA or such. Now, these are organizations that in my mind capitulate way too much on the Second Amendment and give into public pressure more than I would like, and they seem to have nothing to say at all in cases of police brutality when
The
people
NRA is
with
a law enforcement agency.
yeah, when people with concealed carry permits are wrongfully detained or even shot and killed by police for no good reason, they seem to have nothing to say about that. So what are some of your thoughts on that?
So I'm gonna say it like this: if they don't have nothing to say, we don't have nothing to say about them. You know, the gun organizations that I support, obviously, is Black Guns Matter, obviously, is Firearms Policy Coalition, obviously, is Gun Owners of America. Those are organizations that I support and have. You know, Gun Owners of America gave me an endorsement for the city council run. You know what I'm saying? I focus my energy on the people doing the work that don't compromise. I don't even mention them other organizations. I mean, there's no need to. There's 100 million responsible firearms owners in America that we know of, right? We got to get those 100 million firearms owners, responsible firearms owners, involved in these big in other organizations. We need them involved in Gun Owners of America. We need them all donating to Black Guns Matter. We need them all getting knowledge and supportive of Firearms Policy Coalition. We got to put our energy there. Talking about what organizations ain't doing the work, I can't give them no energy. I tried. It didn't work. They not interested. Cool. The irony is that's freedom. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to. Cool. But we're going to let the market decide. If you don't do the thing that 100 million Americans are there for, cool. We will choose and support someone else. You know, I'm like Ron Swanson with it. The free market. A business fails, a better, more efficient business will replace it. That's the reason why Black Guns Matter, with the shoestrings, budget that we've had, has been able to make such a good impact in a short period of time because the people want it. The market is speaking. Now, you can hold off and think the market is the way that it used to be, and you can do that. Let me tell you a story. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix early in the game. And at the time, Blockbuster had like 11,000 locations or some absurd number across the country, make it a Blockbuster night. They laughed at Netflix. Now, where the fuck is a Blockbuster? Your phone got Netflix on it right now. So if those people don't respect and understand the history of what the market does, just because you're an organization does not make you immune to the jungle that is the marketplace. So it's the same concept. So I don't even speak on them. I support Firearms Policy Coalition. Brandon and those guys over there doing, and Craig and those guys and all of those attorneys, Adam Kraut and those guys. Those guys are doing amazing work. Those men and women over there are doing amazing work. You know what I'm saying? I support Gun Owners of America. They doing amazing work over there. You know what I mean? They've always, Eric has always been supportive of our work and what we doing and things of that nature. So I go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. You know what I mean? So that's really how I feel about it.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to get more information on Black Guns Matter, to donate to that, or to get information on your run for city council, how would they go about doing that?
So it's two separate campaigns. One, if you want to support the work that we're doing, that's GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. We need all hands on deck. We have a little under $800,000 to raise. Where again, we're going to get vehicles, buildings, and institutionalize this curriculum that we have. That's going to happen. GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter if you want to support that. Firearm safety, conflict resolution, de-escalation, first aid training, and things of that nature. If you want to support, which is a separate thing, I mean, they're intertwined, but the money got to be separate for campaign finance law reasons. If you want to support our run at City Council, that's majforphilly.com. MAJFORPHILLY.com. Donate. We got if you want to donate 420, you can. If you want to donate, whatever you can. The maximum individual contribution that's lawfully allowed is $6,000. We had a few of those, a few $2,000 joints, a few $1,000 joints. So some rich people, you ran into an extra $100,000. If you want to give us $6,000, that would be great. I'm just very transparent. What I'm gonna do is take this philosophy, things that we've learned over the last 4 years with Black Guns Matter in regards to reducing crime, healing from trauma, stopping the ignorance while preserving freedoms. I'm gonna do the exact same thing in City Council, serving the people of Philadelphia. So again, GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter for the donate for Black Guns Matter, and Maj4Philly.com to donate for the city council campaign run.
Awesome, man. That's good to hear. And if you ever find yourself in Omaha, hit us up. We'll love to take one of your Black Guns Matter classes and do this live and in person.
Yo, that would be dope. If y'all reach back out to Janine and let's do something in Omaha. I've never been in Nebraska in my life.
What?
Hey, hold up. Ain't fucking Warren Buffett up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Omaha.
Hell yeah. Let's set up a class.
You know what's even more awesome than Warren Buffett in Nebraska?
What?
Hornady.
Hornady's there?
I used to work there.
Oh, word.
I can set you up with a factory tour, probably.
Hell yeah, let's do that. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, y'all got my contact. Let's set it up.
Let's set it up.
Absolutely. All right. So we're at the half-hour mark. We got to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Maj. I wish you luck in your upcoming campaign. And yeah, we'll set something up to get you over here. We'll get you in a cornfield or something.
For sure. I need it. I'll see y'all later.
All right, man. Remember, everybody, the website, roads2liberty.com. That's roads2liberty.com. Find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, and Minds. Also on YouTube and anywhere that you can find podcasts. Thank you so much, everybody. And remember, stay sane, because the world will not do it for you. Good night, everyone.